Where are all the good candidates?
Yes!
I used the dating app for one day of my life and found my wife.
Like one very good looking professor, right? I had to sit at the back. I was like,
In this day and age, it's so hard to date. So what do y'all think about like using the dating apps and just meeting someone and then thereafter, if a friendship does evolve and then just see where things go? Wow! Tell that. There are more stories.
Yes, or rather, there's a specific story that you're alluding to. And this, my dear friends, is because my wife, I met my wife on a dating app. And the story is quite, I think it's quite good because I used the dating app for one day of my life and found my wife. Hey, that rhymes. Anyway, so yeah, it just so happens for me that way. I know many people try and they don't meet people who they really get along with and stuff like that. But for me, it just so happens to have turned out that way. And it was in 2020, just before the COVID lockdown happened. And so we couldn't meet face to face and ended up communicating a lot on like WhatsApp, eventually progressed to like Zoom dates, I guess, before we were able to meet a few months later in person. But that was nice. There was something a bit old school about it, phone calls, message, and all that, even before we met one another. And of course, as it turned out, it was someone who, it was like a long lost friend that I got to know, and we connected very well, very quickly, I think.
what made you swipe right?
Yeah. What made me swipe right? So her profile is quite interesting, Okay, here's where I tell you, friends, why I decided to use this app.
Disclaimer.
So I like to think that I'm a decent comedian, and I had gone for a comedy show, this stand-up thing, open mic night. And out of the 10 comics that night, 6 of them spoke about meeting people on Tinder. And more often than not, the very interesting people they meet. So I was like, interesting. Okay, maybe I need to be on the app to gain or gather some material. And I did. I did all of in that one day that I was using it. But since I had created an account to use the app, I figured, okay, if by some fluke a match is found, then let's see where this goes, So I created a profile. My picture had Jesus in the background. All my pictures are very Jesus-y one, So I thought that should eliminate the crowd. And the description also was quite Jesus-y, I have to admit. So she didn't have a lot of Jesus-y stuff there, but it looked like an interesting person from the bio. The pictures had lots of food and traveling, which I like, which was enough, I suppose, for me to take interest. And as it turns out, we both swipe right on each other. Her side of the story, not speaking for her, but her side of the story was that she was very drawn to this crucifix in the main picture I had, which is incidentally at the cathedral. I was emceeing an event a couple of years ago, and someone took a nice picture. So she saw that and was drawn to Jesus more than me. And apparently, she said she didn't think very much. She just swiped.
Jesus is your wingman.
That's right.
Famous.
You always got
Still
your
my wingman here.
Always got your back.
Very nice. So, that's how it. So it can work, but I do acknowledge that I think my story is not common. And,
true.
just not how it is for most people.
I get stressed using dating apps.
Really?
It's very weird because the way that I do friendships, right? Like make friendships in general is usually based on proximity. So it's either I'm your schoolmate, I'm your workmate, I was your project mate. So that's how the relationship even started. So when it comes to romantic relationships, it's very awkward for me. So I was thinking I can't expect the guy to just fall out the sky, right? Especially because I'm a homebody, he will have to legit break into my house. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. So it's exactly a bit weird. Yeah. So I tried using dating apps, but I think every time I open the app, right, just starting the swiping, I get physically nauseous. I don't know why. I think initially I thought it's because I don't like superficiality. So usually when you're swiping, at least for me, is based on appearance. So I'm sorry. Then if I think a guy is cute, right, for some reason, part of my body's just like, no, it will never work. There'll be something wrong with him. Then I just linger. Then I'm just like, oh yeah, sorry, my let's see what happens kind of thing. Yeah, so there's a lot of anxiety when I use dating apps. Yeah. So even, I think, that's what I was asking about, like, what are your non-negotiables? Because I feel like, I don't know, how do y'all swipe? Do y'all see like, oh, not Catholic, then I don't swipe? Or like, cute, then not swipe? Like, I don't know.
Like if not Catholic, I don't swipe already.
Yeah, it's an instant filter lah.
Yeah, because I know that's a very clear filter for me. So like some people, they do say, right, never mind lah, if it's not Catholic, never mind, maybe over time then will become ma.
Right.
But I always say, I don't want a project. I don't want to enter a relationship thinking that, okay, I hope for you to convert. Because it means I'm not like truly accepting you as you are, so what, you know what I mean? So I don't want that. So that's a natural filter to me.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I don't think I can be the person that will convert somebody. So I agree. I think it's easier if it was the same faith. But then like, I feel superficial because at the same time, like, what happened? There are great guys who are not Catholic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's trying to give that chance and not chance. That's why dating on the apps are very confusing for me because I feel like it reflects my own values also.
So say that too cute also, no one swipe.
That's called self-sabotaging behavior.
Like you assume that somehow the person will have something.
Yeah. It's a cat.
Which is also true lah, no?
Really, yeah.
Because it's I mean, when you're on an app or when you're on social media, you're packaging yourself that way. That's true. There's always like parts that we hide about ourselves, right?
But it's not like a direct correlation that ugly means.
Yeah.
But then again, remember, I've never dated before. So like a bit of background, I have very little exposure with guys. Like I went to a convent school for 10 years, even in cat class, right? The Red Sea of guys and girls, and I've never crossed that path before. Don't want. I just go in there, learn about Jesus and go home. Yeah. So by the time I reach like when I'm older, right, especially at uni when it's like the peak hunting season apparently, like if you don't find one, yeah, I missed that season entirely. Yeah, but I think it took a while for me to even get used to talking to guys. But I was talking to my sister about it, right? When it comes to attractive guys, right, it's like staring at the sun. I shut down. I was like, oh my god, I cannot. Yeah. So like one very good looking professor, right? I had to sit at the back because I was like, it's so glare. It's so glare. Yeah, so the reason I can talk to y'all like very naturally, right? I went to
Hey, you can't say it, God. Everyone's quiet. What's this? Thank you.
So can't say fine.
Yeah, I don't know if I can talk to y'all because
Right.
you're already attached, yeah, so there's no threat whatsoever. If y'all was single,
No attached, then
okay, back it up.
doesn't it have anything to do with, there's this quite famous quote from one of these movies, this 500 seconds of summer.
Oh, days of summer.
500 days of summer.
5 seconds.
That might be a band or something. That's a band or something, yeah. Or Puffs of the... that's the band.
5 souls.
Yeah.
So one of these movies, they have this very famous line that you accept the love you think you deserve.
Right.
Or rather, we accept the love we think we deserve. Does it have something to do with it? Too cute.
Thinking. That's why sometimes I low-key wonder if I'm scared of intimacy. Yeah, because often this guy cute, then everyone he thinks I'm cute also. Then I'm like, why do you think I'm cute? Then I think something's wrong with him because I think it's a misjudgment.
To own your cuteness, Clara.
I don't think
cute.
But I think I'm cute, but I don't think I'm like attractive. So it's a bit, I don't know. That's why like when I'm praying now, right, it's not so much like, I know some friends who will pray for their spouse. Like I pray for my future spouse. Come to me. Well, now I just like, give me a good guy friend. Let's just start there. Because like what you all were saying, like you will start off as good friends, then the attraction comes, then you kind of like, hey, let's date, right? That's what I want too. That's the trope I want, like friends to lovers. Yeah. So if I can't even like talk normally to a guy, how am I expected to like get married?
True.
Yeah.
So do you feel like, or have you ever said this to yourself? Where are all the good Catholic guys? Oh my gosh, tell me! Like all my girlfriends, right? They often say that. I mean, as a single also, I often wonder also.
I mean to quantify why we want a Catholic dude. Because I think some people think like we want a Catholic dude because like they're holy moly, but actually they don't have to be perfect lah. I think the attraction, right? Yeah, I think the attractive part of a Catholic guy, or at least a guy who wants to pursue the faith, right, is that he's ready to work on himself, and his aim is to learn to love right. I think that is quite appealing now.
I mean, but to be fair, there are people who are not of the faith who also want to be good.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think apart from that, for me at least, it's more of like, yes, they want to be good, but we also have similar vision, right? And similar values. And the one that sort of like dictates that for us is got like the same faith lah. For me, that's the differentiation. But yes, I hear a lot of my friends also who say the same thing. Where are all the good Catholic guys? Then we look at community, then like, don't have leh, don't have. Even though got singles, right? But all the girls in the community will be like, no, we cannot. Then we're like, okay, maybe another community have. Then we like talk to the girls, then they're like, no, so cannot. Then we're like, oh, so where are all them?
Did y'all struggle with this? Like, where are the good Catholic girls?
Yeah.
So simple, boy. What?
But why do we have that perspective though? Isn't the ideal hunting ground the community? Then there's nobody. Hunting a bit extreme.
So what about the single guys in communities who, I mean, the fact that they are in communities or ministries in a parish means they a bit serious lah, a bit serious in the faith. So why they cannot? What about them cannot? Speaking for the brothers.
Okay. I will speak into that because I feel like guy friends, when I ask like, okay, do you have any guys to introduce, right, to like me and my friends? They're like, actually, no, and there's no one. Then I say, what about so and so? Then he'll be like, no lah, not so good.
Even the guys also, they won't introduce their own friends.
They're like, no, not so good. No lah, don't have.
Is it because we have an idealized version of what a Catholic girl or boy should be? So when we really meet the human ones, right?
The human, wait,
the ones that are right in front of us, right? Then we realize actually they don't match up. So that's why we feel actually there's no good guy or girls out there. Because we start to see like their humanness, you know what I'm saying?
Ah.
Yeah, because I mean ultimately all of us are in a community because we want to pursue God, right? Not say about really perfect word, right? Yeah. So I mean maybe out there somewhere in our communities also, all the girls are so. I won't be offended because honestly I'm a bit like got a lot of stuff to do lah. Yeah. So maybe that's why there's like no good ones out there. So to lower our expectations.
Oh,
Not our standards. Not our standards. I'm saying like in terms of how we view a Catholic guy or girl, it shouldn't be so like, wow, they must be amazing. You have to accept, like you said, like you and your wife are different journeys, right? Then accept the journey and that they have a potential of being like a great Catholic girl or guy.
Wait, so how do you know?
That's the thing I hate, like I have to make friends. I actually get to know people.
Leave the house. Step 2, make friends.
But it's true, exactly. Just vibe. It's true. But isn't it? Honestly, right? Maybe I cannot say for certain our community doesn't have because I don't know everybody. It's so big, yeah, and I don't have the time or energy to like, let's meet up. How about you? How is your life? Right? Yes.
I'm not sure. I feel like in our Catholic circles, there's this tendency, especially in my girl like pool of friends. A lot of the girls, when they see guys, and they'll be like, don't have. But there are a lot of single guys, and then there are a lot. I mean, for the guys' perspective, there are a lot of single girls, but they are not like doing anything to like pursue each other. Or I don't know.
I know there's one narrative that's being said a lot to singles, which is like, don't care so much about relationships. Just focus on yourself, focus on God, and then eventually it will come when you least expect it. So I saw like a TikTok video about this, right? So the lady who's like a relationship coach, she was saying that don't say this to singles because like the essence of what you're saying to them, right, is don't even desire relationships. Don't put so much on it. Just do whatever else. Yeah, don't think about it so much. Then as I was watching it, I was like, yeah, why must I squish down my desires for relationships? Totally normal, that kind of thing. Yeah, so the way that she framed it is, it's not so much about like squishing the desire. The one that we're uncomfortable with is the timeline. Like we're uncomfortable with how long it's taking to actually find someone. Like we don't like to live in the discomfort of the uncertainty of like, when is it going to happen? Who's it going to be with? How and the whys and whatever. Yeah, so when she was talking, I was like, yeah, that's true. Actually, I really love romance. That's why like since young, I'm like, romance books here and there. Yeah, so at this age, I'm like, okay, I don't mind if it happens. It's just that, it's just the who, where, what's kind of thing. Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like sometimes when people tell us that, I feel like as singles, we tend to go into that frame and to absorb that because it's how to say, like some form of like defensive tool, right? If I don't desire it, then I can't be hurt by not having it. Yeah.
Wow. Say it one more time. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I feel so I do think that for a period of time I did adopt that mindset. But then in like over the course of the past year, then you all know, like I went through a journey of embracing and honing that desire and acknowledging it, because I feel like sometimes it's shameful for singles to admit that I desire to be in a relationship because my reality now is that I don't have it. You know? So there's a sense of like not good enough sort of thing. So it was easy to just, okay, you know what? I'll just park it aside. It's not important to me for now. I'm focusing on myself. But if I'm honest with myself, deep down, I want. And I feel like, in fact, there's a deep desire. And sometimes I really break down and cry because it's so deep and I want that emotional intimacy so much. But and so I feel like, okay, God in this season has been inviting me to articulate it, right? Because for the longest time, it's been like, he always tell me, okay, ask and you shall receive, ask and you shall receive. And I'm like, no, it's not going to happen because the past few times when I ask you, I never get it. You never like deliver it to me. So in this season, it's been, okay, the invitation again. And so I sort of like went through the journey of, okay, you know what, I don't believe you. I don't really believe you. But anyway, I'll ask, right? Yeah, so again, I mean, I don't feel like he has delivered, and he continues to ask me to like verbalize it lah. But the desire is really there, and I feel like we need to acknowledge it and be like unashamed. But I think it's very hard. It's very hard as a single.
There's this narrative that I've been hearing around on how like if you're run towards the Lord, and then if you see someone to your left or right, then that would be maybe your future spouse, the person that you're meant to be with. Do you agree with that narrative? Like, run towards the Lord first, and then there you see someone on your like left.
Someone sounds very cheesy.
Wait, what?
No,
Why?
but I get it. As in, there's the whole narrative of like, don't be so caught up in trying to search for a relationship.
Okay.
Like, keep your eyes on the Lord and everything will kind of fall into place. That kind of thing, is it?
I think that there's a balance because to share, I actually had a vision like that.
Tell us more.
No, that's exactly what it was.
Huh?
What?
See?
Wait,
Wait,
running? Joey run.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, you actually saw Joey in your vision.
At that time, were you all dating?
We just became friends.
Oh wow! Wait, okay. My question is, how do you know that this was like a reliable source from the Lord?
I was at a retreat.
Wait,
You have very clear signs there.
okay. People could say though, how did you? Because if you were, because I mean I've been told this as well. If you were to just receive a vision and then you just discern it, just you and the Lord, what makes you think that that is actually from the Lord? You actually go out one
So
step to
it's
like.
not the be all and all lah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there also has to be proper discernment,
Right.
using your mind, thinking about things, weighing things. But why I say also that there has to be so there's have to be balance lah, because I mean there's also this thing called I'm waiting for the Lord to show me someone or bring someone to me, but there also has to be an active waiting lah.
But what does active waiting mean to you?
Yeah.
So there's this very common saying is that Jesus take the wheel, right? However, if you're not stepping on the accelerator, you're not going anywhere.
Ooh,
my gosh. Feel cold now.
I'm calling Grab drivers.
I mean, yeah, that's a good job. Good job, Clara.
I just don't look at their face. I take the food.
Wait, Shao, so how do you feel? I mean, because earlier on you mentioned, what? You mentioned like you're waiting for someone like forgot to just drop him down, right? Then how do you feel about that? So that means you agree that this narrative is real lah. Focus on your relationship with the Lord, and then somehow.
I mean, to some extent, yes, I do believe in that lah. Because I also want the person to be pursuing God, right? So hopefully, I mean, on that journey, then we'll meet each other there. But then I feel caught up because I don't feel like I'm actively waiting. Yeah, in the sense that. So okay, back to this whole like, single but not available thing, right? What I mean is that.
Defining it.
Very important.
What I mean is that, okay, I don't think any of us will be fully ready at any point of time, right? Like some of us have said just now. But I think it's because in this season, I realized the mess, the amount of crap I have to deal with. And in some way, I think not dealing with it would definitely like not set me up for a good relationship. And so I feel like in order to ensure that at least the new relationship or new prospect of relationship starts off from a good foundation, and to be fair to myself and to the person, I need to deal with some of this in some way first, because I realized that over the past year I haven't had an opportunity to really look at it. So how can I just park it aside, come on new guy, yeah, so in that regard lah. But it's not that I'm closed off. If someone comes along, yes, I am open, but just I wouldn't actively put myself out there at this juncture.
Okay, but so define good foundation first, or like in other terms, like some people will say, the person must be of good standard before I consider like dating the person. So for you, what is that standard?
Actually, I subscribe to that.
Okay, so tell us then.
When I say I want a Catholic boy, I don't just want a Catholic boy
You
who,
see?
who doesn't,
Tell us.
I mean, either doesn't go to church or like just goes to church and then like go home. But I want someone who's pursuing God, like serious about the faith, you see.
Okay.
So I do think there's some standard that I'm looking at.
Okay.
And also because like I mentioned, I don't want a project. Like I want someone who, for himself, has decided that this relationship with God is important for me. You know? Yeah. So what's the question again?
So let's say if you meet someone, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, actively pursuing his faith, yeah. But what if he has like a bad past or something?
Yeah, I perfectly find that. Because
Okay.
actually for me, I feel like the other thing that's important is for the person to accept my past also. So I think over the past year, I've been looking at a lot of the ugly parts of my life, right? And I think for a period of time, I felt afraid when I considered the possibility of dating in the future, because I was afraid that the person won't be able to accept my past. Yeah, so I think it was on our trip to Rome where for some reason I had an affinity with Saint Joseph, because when I was like dealing with this, what if the guy can accept me, blah blah blah, accept my past and everything also, I felt like I needed a man like Saint Joseph, in the sense that like when Mary came with the news of like, I'm pregnant, right? And who's this guy? There's no guy, obviously. But, like, the fact is that he could accept it as he was, and he took it and accepted the will of God also, right? And he took it in faith lah. So I feel like I need that in a man. Yeah. So
Okay.
because of that, then I feel like I am accepting of however the past is also, because that is part of the person, what?
But I wanted to ask you guys, like, do y'all like struggle with this pressure to have your relationship be like very Christ-centered focus, or do certain things that shows that you guys are practicing, or like Christ is in the center of your relationship? Yeah, how important is that?
I think it's, for me, right, I always have to remember that, like then my girlfriend, now my wife, she has a different journey from me lah. So at any point, she and I have made different points of the journey. And so although, Christ is of course important and should be the center of our relationship, there's always that, always having to see where she's at. Always having to understand how's her comfort level in this or that. And respecting that, but also at the same time, praying for her, praying for us. So I don't think there's a fixed answer or textbook answer to this. I think it's you meet a partner where he or she is at lah.
Oh, that's really good. Okay. So for me, I think because I'm a perfectionist or a recovering like type A kind of person. And so when I first entered into this current relationship, I was really striving so much. I mean, the girls would know. Like I was trying to attend like a lot of like workshops for like Christian couples, like how to do like TOB, theology of the body. And like I'm trying to do so many things. I was trying to hit all this checklist of what it means to have a Christ-centered relationship. Then I realized, oh no, like I'm rushing the journey, or I'm not allowing my relationship to unfold, even in the messiness of like, let's say we quarrel, or that journey of like him growing into the faith, because he's newly baptized, right? I don't give us the opportunity to flourish together as couples and as individuals, because I'm rushing that. Yeah, so I've been guilty of that.
Most of the people I've dated are Catholics and of the same faith. When I was younger, I used to be a bit more affected, I suppose, by very well-meaning mentors, who ask, hey, make sure y'all, pray, make sure y'all this, and all that was very good, but I think I did feel that pressure, when I was much younger. Now I'd say I desire that more, so I don't. I think my wife and I, we don't do certain things just so, we look the part. We look like a good Catholic couple and we can post about it and all that. All that doesn't really matter to us. But I I think along the way we do have certain like expectations or things that we do more. Like, oh, we wish we prayed more together, you know, we wish we went to adoration more or mass together more. And more often than not, it doesn't really happen the way we think so. But I think the important thing there is that we both have that same desire and we both try in our ways, you know. So we're still kind of, I suppose, not fully at a place where we are, having all these disciplines as a couple that we would like to. But I think what we have is pretty decent. We pray together a few times a week, and we really try to remember God in different things, and we remind each other also. I think one of the pressures one can inflict on oneself also can be, especially if one person feels that I have to always lead it or always drive or set the tone, you know. But yeah, I've come to a place where it's like, okay, we both have our moments of keeping each other in check and, you know, keeping one another accountable also.
So on to follow up the Keith, there's two things that really gave me comfort. Because I would say I was a bit like you, Michelle, when I was younger. But two things really gave me comfort, right? Firstly is the fact that there have been many couples, maybe even both Catholic, right? But like one of the spouses only takes his faith seriously when he's like 50 or 60, like decades into the relationship. Another one is when I was hearing the sharing of this older couple whom I look up to, right? So, because before I got married, there was this fear, you know, that I won't be ready. So, but what this friend of mine shared is that you will never be ready for marriage. So, I mean, talking about marriage in general, but also relevant to the faith aspect of it. Now, you will never be a perfect couple before you get married, or even when you get married. So, it might take decades for you to get to that point. So, there was a lot of comfort to me personally.
Always perfecting each other, I think.
Maybe a couple of years ago, I felt very insecure in like many areas. So I felt the ugliest I had ever been. Apart from young, I guess. So very insecure, and like there's just a lot of things that were troubling me. And I think there was like a moment of like deep intimacy, and like so I felt like the person was like accepting me and seeing me as I am, you know, that even though I saw myself as ugly, and possibly even like people, especially strangers, right? But he helped me and loved me as I am. And I think over the course of our relationship, it has always been there. And so there had been moments also where I literally just break down, like, you know, the complete meltdown and cry kind. And he just like hold you there. Yeah, so I felt like those were moments of like you just cannot even hold yourself anymore, and the person is there to just hold you. Yeah, I think another instance, which sounds so frivolous, but I feel like for some reason it just like really touched my heart, was when the person I was dating knew the desires of my heart that I myself did not know I had, and did not, like, because I didn't know that it was there, then I didn't acknowledge it. So it sounds so frivolous, but what it was so he surprised me with like a date, right? And basically on that day, then he just like drive us around and like go different places, blah blah blah. It was nice or whatever. But then the next day I realized that this very act of just him driving me around was a desire that I had. And maybe I think I felt like it was so silly to acknowledge it, you know, to say, oh, I want like someone to drive me and be a passenger princess.
Princess,
Yeah, like I felt like it was so silly to think about that. So like I didn't say it, like I didn't acknowledge it for myself. But when I was reflecting on it, then I felt like it was something so intimate. The fact that I didn't know this desire, but this person knew, and this person like did it for me.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's that level of like the person knowing what's on your heart, even though you had not seen it at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, but I get it, because like there were many instances also when my current partner, he would exhibit like godlike traits. So what I mean is that like the level of pursuing that he does in our relationship is off the charts. Like I've never experienced it before, and it made me realize that it's quite similar to the way we hear about how God pursues us, right? I mean, we hear it in the Bible, okay? God leaves the 99 for the one, you know, and some of us may have experienced that, right? God pursuing us when we are low and left there maybe on the ground like Sean. We've all been there.
Yes.
But like, I've never experienced it in like a romantic relationship. And it dawned on me that, you know, even in my own relationship with God, there were moments where I was even running away from God. That in my own relationship with my partner now, made me realize that, I don't know, it just reflects my relationship with the Lord and that I can be pursued. I mean, I am being pursued in such a way that reflects God's love for me. Like there are certain things like where maybe I'm not ready to talk to the Lord about, I can run away. But being in a relationship, I cannot. Because He's there like asking me like, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And then if I'm like, it's okay, it's not like God, you know, like, you know, in the tabernacle, I can go Edo and like, you know, God isn't physically pursuing me. But here I have someone who's physically like asking me, how are you? Like, what's wrong? And He's constantly like pursuing me in that way. And so it moved me to realize that, oh no, like, I can run away from God in that sense, but in a way, God is pursuing me through my partner. I mean, I do see it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's so crazy.
Yeah, I feel like they have in many ways really showed me like a glimpse of God's love.
Yeah.
So like in protecting me, in accepting me, in
Yeah.
loving me as I am. And even in the whole notion, right, of like knowing the desires of my heart and fulfilling it even though I had not said it.
Yeah,
So I remember the incident really reminded me that okay, if this is the case for like a human being, right? Then what more God? Like God surely knows the desires of my heart and He will fulfill it in His time. That's the difficult part, right? In His time. Yeah.
So on this episode, we talked about dating and relationships and the joys and struggles that come along with it. If you have anything to add to the conversation, let us know down below in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Ding ding. Yeah. And also, let us know if there's any other future topics you want us to talk about. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, but I've heard stories of my girlfriends, right, where the guys are very nice, they do all these great things, but then they're not interested. They just see you as a friend.
Yeah. That's the downside of like good guys. Good
Wait, what? Wait, what do you mean? Share more, Sha. It seems like
triggers.